Hey friends, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today, I'm gonna be honest. I debated making this video only because I feel like there is so much noise and so much just information and everything being thrown at us right now with this whole pandemic of Corona, that I didn't just want to be another piece of that noise. So I prayed about it and I really felt like God gave me some just practical encouragement for you guys. So just know that my heart in this is to be intentional, and I just am gonna pray that you would leave this video feeling so much more encouraged and filled with hope than you did when you first started. So let's go ahead and get into it. As you can see, I am in my car just like the old days, and I would come chat and hang out in my car because why? Because things are crazy and I've been inside my house all day long. So we're gonna do this thing in the car, and I can't wait to just connect with you guys over video, right? Thank God for video and for FaceTime and everything else. Just I'm so thankful for technology, especially with what's going on right now. So to get started, the one thing that I actually really feel like I want to encourage you guys with is rooting yourself and being in God's word. I feel like there has never been such a time where it has been so important to be rooted and grounded in God's word for the sake of our peace and to be able to reject fear and anxiety. So this is kind of what it made me think of as kind of like an analogy. So you know how people say that you will become basically a mixture of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. If you haven't heard that, I'm sure you probably have, but that's kind of like the going saying, is just that you will be an accumulation of the 5 people that you spend the most of your time with. So people always say, choose wisely, make sure whoever you're spending your time with is people that you want to be like. So I kind of was thinking about that in kind of parallel to reading God's word, because I just feel like there is such like a surge of information coming at us, whether it is fear driven, whether it's comic relief from memes, whether it is articles, whether it's facts, whether it's the newest research or the newest statistic or whatever it is. It's like we are being bombarded right now with all this information. Now, I do want to preface and say, of course, I believe in knowing what you need to do, using wisdom, but in rejecting the fear that can come with all of that. So I feel like for me, I realized the first couple of days that this was really becoming a thing for us in the US, and I was like filling my mind with it all day long. I'm seeing it on Instagram, I'm seeing it on, everywhere I'm looking, mainly social media. It's like all this information, and whether it's like comic stuff of like all the memes that are circling, or the real stuff, or the fear-driven stuff, the underlying thing was what? It's all coronavirus, and my mind is just being filled with this, and what is surrounding that right now is fear and anxiety and panic and people just going nuts because they're like, what do we do? And so I felt like in the same way of, that data of you'll become like the 5 people you spend the most time with, I found that same truth of whatever I'm filling my mind with for the majority of the day is gonna be what's in my heart. And to be honest, the fruit of all of that and being on social media that much, just looking at everything, the fruit of that for me was anxiety and just this feeling of like being unsettled. And so knowing myself, I knew that I needed to get off social media. Pretty much almost every day I've like deleted the app. Like I'll re-download, in the morning and catch up with everybody. And then by the end of the day, I'm typically like, I know my limit and I know when I need to be done. And so I just delete the app so I don't even have to think about it. So what I really felt like I wanted to do was give you guys some Bible verses that you can really latch onto and encourage you. Like I said, I really feel like there has never been a more crucial time to be soaking yourself and meditating on God's word than there is right now, because we're having such a surge of like panic and fear, and just our minds are being filled with all of that. So I want to encourage you with some Bible verses, and some I'm going to pull from my phone because I didn't want to have to search real quick here for you guys. And so the first one, which is kind of everything that I'm talking about right now, is Proverbs 4:23, which says, guard your heart above all else, for everything you do flows from it. This is so true. I'm literally seeing this right before my eyes. When I'm filling my heart and my mind with everything regarding this pandemic right now, what am I getting? I'm getting fear, anxiety, and I'm feeling very unsettled. So when I'm not guarding my heart and knowing my limits and knowing my capacity to get my information and just be done, so that I can be wise through it, but like I continue going and continue looking at all of it, what's flowing from that is not good. So how do I change that? I need to be more intentional with my time. I need to be more intentional with what I'm seeing, what I'm talking about, the conversations I'm engaging in, knowing that, you might need to pull back from some people if they are constantly talking negatively or bringing this up. You just need to do what is going to be best to be able to guard your heart. Why? Because everything else flows from that. So I'm going to give you guys a few more Bible verses. I think I have, so that was the first one. I have 5 Bible verses to cling on to. The first one was Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart above all else. The Amplified version of that says, watch over your heart with all diligence, for from it flows the springs of life. Another one I wanted to read to you guys, and I think this is a very popular one and for a good reason, is in 2 Timothy, 2 Timothy 7, and it says, for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. The Amplified version says, for God did not give us a spirit of timidity or cowardice or fear, but he has given us a spirit of power and of love and sound judgment and personal discipline, abilities that result in a calm, well-balanced mind and self-control. I think we all need some of that calm, well-balanced mind. We have Romans 8:28. This is another popular one, again, for great reason. This one gives me so much hope and confidence, and I'll tell you why. So Romans 8:28, it says, and we know with great confidence that God, who is deeply concerned about us, causes all things to work together as a plan for good for those who love God, to those who are called according to his plan and purpose. Okay, so the reason I love this one so much is because this one, it gives me hope for redemption. I don't have to know how God is going to work all of this for good. I just know in my deepest part of my being that God is the God of restoration and he is the God of redemption, and that he always is able to work things out for our good for those who love him. So I don't have to know how this is all going to play out. I don't have to know any of that. I just have to be confident in the fact that God is a restorer and he is a redeemer, and we can put our trust and our faith and our confidence in his ability to make this right. Was Corona God's perfect plan? No, that is not from God. But does God have a plan to bring good out of this? Yes. And I feel like we are already seeing that in so many beautiful ways of, unity across the entire world. I feel like I've seen, crisis in whether it's a state, a city, a town, even a country. But personally, I've never seen a crisis globally. And because of that, we are seeing so much unity and just the world coming together to help one another despite our differences, despite our beliefs. What's the one thing that is coming together is unity, and it's been beautiful. Another one is Jeremiah 29:11. This is another amazing life verse, which again is going to talk about the hope that we have in Jesus, which is, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. So we can take God's word to the bank and know that these are promises over our lives. Even if we don't see it, in this current moment, we can have hope and confident assurance in him that he will work all things together for our good. And he has good plans for us, plans to give us a future and a hope. Okay, so the last of the 5 verses that I want to leave you with, again, is a well-known verse, and these are the verses that we need to have memorized, and we need to just be able to repeat back whenever we're starting to feel that fear trying to creep in. We just need to be spitting these out and speaking God's truth, because of why? It has so much power. It is living and active, and it will cut like a two-edged sword against fear, against anxiety, against all the unsettledness. God promises us peace that surpasses all understanding. understanding. And how do we get to that? Is focusing on God's truth and feeding our minds and our spirits and our hearts with the truth of God, okay? So the last verse I want to leave with is Philippians 4:6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So when we are feeling like the world is getting a lot louder and we are not making time for the secret place, I want to encourage you, don't be anxious. Whatever you're thinking about and whatever your fears are, whatever your thoughts are, bring those to God. God says, come to me and I will give you rest. Come to me and he will give you the rhythms of grace. And so God is okay with our hard questions. He's okay with our humanness. He's okay with us feeling like, A, B, and C. He's okay with all of that stuff. What he wants us to do is bring those burdens to his feet and talk to him about it, release them to him, whatever we need to do to get back on track. He's like, hey, come to me. I have your answers. I have whatever it is that you need. Just come to me. And so cling to those Bible verses and be speaking them with out loud with your voice has such power. And so I just want to encourage you to do that. Be speaking them over your family, over yourself in your prayer time. Just cling to the word. Like I said, whatever we're filling our minds with, whatever we're putting in is what we're going to be, getting out. And so if we're putting in peace, if we're putting in truth, that's what we're going to feel. And that is going to be what flows from our life. Okay. So I hope that encourages you, and make sure you are being intentional with reading. I know it is so crazy right now with everybody's schedules and everything getting just kind of, all mixed up, and just like everything feels like it's changing. I know that it's tricky and it's hard, especially if you've got little kids, or just if, whatever it is, make sure that you are in God's word this week. Fill your mind with good things. And I'm going to come back with another video on God's redemption. And it's going to be really good. So be encouraged. I love you guys, and I've been thinking about you. I'm going to be praying over this video that whoever watches it would just have that peace that surpasses all understanding, and that you guys would go out and be a light to those around you. So if this encouraged you, if this blessed you, please share it with somebody that you think might need it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.